Greetings, greetings, greetings. I am going to recite a poem for you, and this poem is not in my book, either of my books. I just wrote it this morning, actually. Um, this is my book, Yellow Poetry for an Abundant Earth. I want you to get this. You can find it on lulu.com, lulu.com. There is a link tree attached to this process here. You can find it there. You can find my other work, A Blues Man's Blues, poems on love, sex, and revolution. Um, and yellow, specifically yellow poetry for an abundant earth, you can go to your local library and ask for it. And if they don't have it, have them order it into the library. And you can do this anywhere in the United States. In fact, I really want you to do that. I want to, I want to live as a poet, as clergy, as a man of spirit, and a man who protects the earth. I want to live like that. In order to do that, I need to push sales, and I'm a really bad marketer. Really bad at marketing myself. If I were marketing you, I'd do fine. But for myself, I have a difficult time. At any rate, please get it into your local library or go ahead and purchase it online. You can find it on Amazon too, but you can find it there. It's there. Um, at any rate, this poem I'm dedicating not only to my sweetheart who wears a Tignon, and she wears this Tignon, that's the name of the poem, because she is a Southwest Louisiana Creole woman, right? um, the story of that. And I'm going to give a highly abbreviated story behind the Tignon. So apparently, the Creole women in Southwest Louisiana would walk about with their hair. And the genius of women of African and Indigenous descent is in styling your hair the way that you do. Even now, if you wear a straight, perm, whatever, it doesn't matter. The genius of making your hair do so many different things is amazing to me. So the sisters were walking about like that, the Creole women specifically. And the white French women would get like really pissed. Y'all help me if I'm not getting this story right. That the Frenchmen were lusting after the Creole women, and they said, well, maybe if they wrap their head, and so it became like a Tion law in Louisiana. And so then the Creole women would wrap their hair, but again, the genius of African and Indigenous women still standing forth, they wrapped it perfectly and beautifully, even possibly even more stunning than their own hair, right? So that didn't stop anything. So you and your bright reds. I think the sisters started. Some of them started wearing a bright red, which really drew the attention of everyone to these beautiful women, Creole women, descendants of Africa and Turtle Island. So I had not mentioned that before. My woman, the woman in my life, is a southwestern Louisiana woman. She is Creole. She is Afro-Indigenous. So, in honor of those sisters who wear the Tion and the other forms of head wrap throughout Africa and the United States, I am going to do this poem. It's called Tion. I didn't. I'm not. I usually don't label my poems. I just kind of have them. Here it is. I wish I had a teleprompter, but I'm not going to do all that. Tion, my beloved, when you stand before the mirror and lift that cloth, I see more than cotton and silk in your hands. I see decree and law turned into dignity. In old Louisiana, they named it Tion, and it was meant initially to quiet your beauty, to fold your brilliance and make it small, to cut you from you. But you, my Southwest Louisiana Creole woman, you tie it high. You twist it with the confidence of a woman and of women who survived cane fields and courtyards, who spoke French in whispers and they spoke to Africa through their bones. When you knot that Tion at your brow, I see the Gele rising like a crown in Yoruba lands. I see the Duku firm against Harmattan winds. I see the Doek steady in South African sun. I see the women of Senegal lifting their wraps in the spirit of the Muridia. Their cloth moving like dhikr in motion. And yeah, I see the Muslim women of color. I see your hijab resting gently over thought and intention, their kimar flowing like quiet obedience, but not being obedient. I see my indigenous sisters in the rebozo crossing desert shoulders, their cloth catching sun and story, their heads wrapped against dust and doctrine, pushing back against oppression. Different names, different geographies, the same knowing. Knowing that the head is sacred, and you, my Creole beloved, you carry all of them when you tie that knot. Your Tignon does not hide you, it frames you. It gathers your thoughts like prayer beads and protects your crown from careless hands. It tells the entirety of this planet that your mind is not public property. But let me speak plainly, as I have a tendency to wax poetic. There is something devastating about the way the cloth curves around your temples, about the line where fabric meets skin, about the discipline of beauty contained. Sacred does not cancel sensual. In fact, it embraces it. When you turn your head and that knot shifts slightly, I feel history lean closer to me. In you is bayou water and Atlantic crossing. In you is Choctaw earth and Senegal wind. It is indigeneity on display. It is Africanity on display. It is holiness on display. In you is mosque quiet and plantation defiance. When I step near you and kiss the place where cloth meets forehead, I am kissing generations, 7 generations behind us, 7 generations in front of us. And later, when we are alone, and your beautiful hands, your sweet little brown hands, loosen the wrap, when the tian falls and your hair spills like the nighttime sky, it is not the removal of dignity, it is the unveiling of trust and the engagement of love. Because whether wrapped in tignon or gele, duku, doek, hijab, himar, or rebozo, you are the crown before the cloth. My Southwest Louisiana woman, you are not connected to these women simply by costume. You are connected by courage and divinity. You are their echo and their continuation. And when you wrap your head, you are not complying to me or anyone else. You are remembering, you are remembering, you are remembering Tian, not law, not limitation, not borders. Borders be damned, but lineage tied tight at the center of your beautiful, brilliant, unconquered mind. Thank you. That was longer than I suspected, but that's called Tion, and that is not in my book Yellow Poetry for an Abundant Earth. It looks like this. I don't know if that's is that backwards to you all. It looks backwards as I'm looking in the camera, but it's called Yellow Poetry for an Abundant Earth by Dr. Majadi Baruti. You can go to your public library and ask them to stock it. And in fact, I'm strongly encourage everybody that engages this video to go to your public library. And ask for Yellow Poetry for an Abundant Earth by Dr. Majadi Baruti. They'll look it up. They'll see the Library of Congress number, and you have them order it for me, please. So it goes to their library system, and then it comes in circulation. I'm going to close with this. I want you to have a good day, have a good life, be blessed. Peace and blessings.